Okay, so guys, this is very important now. Okay, children. If you're basically, I do have friends in Nigeria and do have kids. Oh, because now, this is ontological research. So any second is over time to me. Let me just find basically this is my consensus, my MMUKO consensus framework. MMUKO, the spirit of evil that connects us all. Spirit of evil that connects us all. Basically here, I'm gonna read it, but I don't like anything rigid. So this language is rigid, I hate it. So basically, it's governance on children. Children can govern themselves. We need to get involved, guys. Children for children, adult for adult. So basically, you're 15 years old, you are not an adult yet. Until you turn 16, you're an adult there. But if you want to be an adult 15 years old, you can be 15 years old an adult. Can declare, I'm an adult now, depending on how you see yourself. But it's literally about authentic growth. So I'm going to try this for now, guys. MMUKO consensus. What is consensus? Consensus is the autonomy act of an individual to do something without any rigid rules around them. That's why it's consensus. My model of consensus. Basically, if I can do something, I should be doing it. I shouldn't have anywhere. If I was a child, like if I was 5 years old, and I said to myself, I want to come to UK, which I never said that. I don't want to come to UK. And you see my friends say, "What my friend? Why I see them? It's so far. It's so far. Where I go?" I don't understand my consensus to it. I didn't understand. So I would have always just said, no, fuck the UK. So cold then. If I can relay the effect of it to it, I never did. So basically, this project is really important to me. So if someone tried to do this wrongly, basically 7x7 matrix for children, eyes, nose, touch. Yeah, basically 7x7 is just neurodivergent typical already. So neurodivergence has basically I'm trying to copy my consensus a bit. Literally 5 senses, 7 senses is just a standard anyway for neurotypical. 5 to 7, 5 senses, 6, 7. What I observe, what I kick, and my relay. My observing, my seeing, my talking, and my relay. That's just too rigid for me. So it's 7 times 7. So you can compute it. 7 times 7 is 49. Maximum I have, minimum I have rights, about 63 rights normally. But there's things I don't consider in that framework. So basically, that's just what my rights are. So instead of 30 human rights, I have 30 plus 30, 63 rights. 60 rights, because there are 30 human rights normally, but we add on top of that, so we add another 30, but we don't get another 30 for anyway, we double it, because why? We don't need to double it. So we get the people, my site, my position, if I'm stressed, I'm neurotypical. I already done this with you guys. I don't even care about neurotypical. I don't care about neurotypical. Basically, let me do the neurodivegn. So basically there's this gap between my understanding. Basically there's 7 rights now, but there's 7 times 7 or 7 units. But I feel spiritual, so I can claim I am a spirit from a 4D dimension. That's why I can do everything. So basically I can do anything and everything. I am God. But I don't have proof I'm God. But I feel that's flexible. I feel the universe is me. It's all about me. But I can't prove that. It doesn't matter what I say. It's just the proof I want. So I say, okay, myself, I'm all in the universe, and there is. So basically, let me think of it. So I say this basically. I have to say my senses. My 5 senses are what? 7 senses. 7 times 7 is what? 14. 14 senses. Now, 14 senses is typical for control. So I need what? What I can control and what I can't control. So basically, I'm trying to give you the neurodivegn framework of open sense. So basically, 14 senses is my relay into my system and my output. Neurotypical only, neurotypical, no more Nnamdi without autism. So like say, but I hate that system. So what I'm doing is I have to double it. So 14. So for me to have 14 plus 14, I get 28. But 28 divided by 2 is what? Divided by 2 is 6 and 1, 2, 36. 6, 18, 18, 7, 9, 29, 16, 19. So I have 19, 20 senses minimum. 20 senses minimum. If I have proof from God to do it. So I'm saying to you, basically my sense is not enough. But that's only the sense I have to control. Basically I have to control the minimum sense. So for me to basically I have all the senses, but the minimum level I have 20 senses. 20 times 2 is 40. So I'm just giving you 2 times 2 times 2 is 400 senses. So basically I have 400 rights over you. Which is a problem, don't really understand me. So I'm giving you ontologically for my references, with new divergence, I control everything you control. So that would be mean I control you too. But you don't know it, I can just write an email and then you can detect, But that's how powerful. That's how power really works in dynamics. So basically, if it's a hierarchy, I'll put myself there because but I have to prove that, So I'm just okay. So I'm saying like a 40. So I get 20 rights, 20 rights and 20 rights. 2 times 2. 20 times 2 is what 40. So I get 40 rights minimum. Minimum. But people have 63 by default. So I have to think 20 times 20. 20 times 20 is what? 400. So I go to 40 rights to 400 rights maximum to just destroy the constitution, which I don't want to be destroyed. No. Basically, that's something called an equity balance there. So the first thing I want to say, guys, I have to work it out now. So basically, if I don't work it out, my thing is not recording. Oh, it's not recording. Okay. So basically, I just said it. It's not recording, guys. Oh my days, it's not recording. Okay, guys. So basically, I'm trying to say I'm not God, but if I'm God, I need to act on everything I do in my framework, in my worldview. So basically, I wasn't recording, Nnamdi. Let's do it again. What's my camera? Oh yeah. So basically, what I'm saying to you guys, if I get 28, basically I have to get 19. Wait, basically 14 rights. If I want to do what I want and act on what I don't want, but I want to act on things I don't want that can't act out of my control. But how do I compute that? Just for by open sense standards. But there's a lot of things I can't control that can sway me. So just forget about that one for now. Because there's no proof for me to say that I don't want to compute that. But we don't want to compute it now because I'm getting better at it. So basically now you get the computer can do 7 times 7. It's 14. But 14. That means there's a lot of things in my. I can be okay. I'm not panicking, but anything else, I can get everything I want. I can just live a normal life, a boring life. I can live into my highest life. For me, it's about breathing the highest. So this 14 rights has to be stretched to what things I can want to do. Basically as foundation is based on the 14 rights already. So 14 times 14 is what? 14 squared. 14. Basically, 14 times 14 is what? 14 times 2 is 28 minimum rights for my whatever I want to do, because that's sensory preservation for neurodivegn people. And then do 14 to the power 14. How many rights do I get? So basically I get 111. Basically this beginning was quite stupid actually, but it's what I'm talking about. 11112 006 825 558016. That's 11112 006, not 8, 825 and 558018. Basically, that's all I'm having to do. But that right is not enough. Basically, the 14 times 14 is the total rights I have for just one need or want, that's been broken. In the real world, basically, something I could have just done when I was like 18 years old, but I wanted the house, wanted stability in this broken community because I planned, had a focus, but the system was too rigid. Which I'm saying to you, basically, this is a lot of things that the system didn't want to see or like look at. Number is massive, but that's one person's right. Because if I say I want food, I'm just gonna I need it. I'm not gonna want it. I need it. Because I'm saying I want it just to get by. If you say no, if I say I want it to you, I'm not saying I want it. I'm saying I need it. Because you don't say, what are you doing your phone? I'm saying I need it. But what I'm saying I need it because I want it, but I don't want to say I want it because I get somewhere else. Now, if I get somewhere else, it's dangerous. Because you don't know where I'm gonna go. You can come to your house and get it. It may affect you directly, by being indirectly. But that's what I'm saying. That's kind of thing I want to break. So I'm not breaking. I don't want anybody in MMUKO with better engage children against MMUKO with better engage each other. God. I want them to guide them with consensus framework. So what is consensus again? Consensus is it's like based on sparse modeling, but it's the model all the rights to very black animation. Listen, you give the children consensus, do everything they want to do, and you don't look back. You never look back. Basically, it's like if you look back, you change the stone. But I don't like that. I'm using Jesus because I hate Jesus. I don't like Jesus, but I hate it because I'm Christian. He's a Christian. But I would say that because Jesus is my brother. Too. I'm black. He's black, so he's my brother. He's my brother. It's fine. You can arrest me. I don't give a shit. But my Jesus is not their Jesus. Basically, I'm a scientist. I hate Jesus. I do hate Jesus. because he didn't really do all his job properly. He didn't give comeback for me. Switch to the 5. Okay, a while ago. So I'm saying to you guys, the thing I'm saying to you guys, you have to have consensus framework. Because consensus guides children. You give them the right to do it. They have a choice to action and morality. If I have a child right now, and I had a child to put, if I say to my child, oh, system's fucked. Here's money. But this money is for food, water, shelter. Do you think my child wants to buy food, water? He doesn't want to buy food, water, shelter. He wants me to give him stuff for free, guys. That's nonsense. He wants to buy with his friends, his games, his money. He wants to live the high life, guys. You shouldn't be buying anything like that. He don't want to do basic stuff anymore. It's 2025, basically, the second thing, consensus. Basically, consensus model. So the square represents my mom. Now I'm going to take a picture of this. 3, 2, 1. Pew. So the square is my mom, and I'm the circle. And I'm so flexible. I'm round. Guys, I'm round. I'm so flexible. I have to look at my room. I'm so flexible. Come on, pop, pop, pop. But my brother is like, basically anything rigid is structural. So this is a structural framework. It's like consists based on structure. Your structure. So I'm trying to reduce people to squares and rectangles on paper. Look, just listen to it. Because it's not about pain. All the pain and suffering is going away for me. Because everything is a square or a circle. People are squares or circles. They're different, but they're either squares, rigid lines, and they are circles. And shapes, triangle is a square. My brother's a triangle. I can put my brother a triangle or an X, but because it's neurotypical, But I'm saying I'm neuroflexible, so I'm giving myself 100% of the capacity. For this example, so I'm a circle. So I can fix in this box. Circles have a web to can walk. What a basically, if I have a pi, 2 pi r, that's the area of a circle. But that's my infinite radius. My radius keeps growing outwards. Or keeps going around and surf, because the perimeter but keep growing, expanding, more shapes. So this time giving myself the maximum flexibility. I'm breathing, this room. So this is what you gotta do for yourself too. I'm doing it mathematically the way I know how. Because I'm very smart basically. Mensa, fuck you Mensa. Basically, it's a removal of the masking and being a masquerade. Breathing without breathing the soil that gave me consensus and authority. Basically, I have to speak to people who won't harass me for money. So basically, weak and strong. Weak, strong. So basically, my mom thought I was weak. I was so flexible. She didn't make myself. Most of the nurse, she didn't want to help me. She's actually in Nigeria now, dancing on TikTok and being with my friends. On my lecture, Okpala. She's on TikTok.com/O for Oscar, M for mother, A for Alpha, L for Lima, I for Indigo, C for Charlie, H for Hamburger, and A for Alpha. That's spelled on my lecture. But if I want to understand her name, I have to spell it backwards on my lecture. So basically, it's just consensus of neurodivegn. So basically, I say my mom's name backwards because I have to learn it now. Let me give you some. Let me say this before. I'm gonna write it, but I'm gonna do it because she's just a woman. But it's on my lecture means the beautiful one. So I'm gonna get it right the first time because basically my mind is flexible. So I'm just gonna prove it's flexible. A for apple, H for hamburger, M for mother, I for indigo. L for Lima. A for apple, N for mother, O for orange. So that's like what I'm talking about. So basically, that example I gave you, I didn't have to think about my alphabet, about alphabet, because I'm autistic for the divergence. I'm autistic. I just proved that to you. But so I thought into this framework I've made. So I just fit into the circle, guys. Because I just proved I can relay something without reciting my alphabet the other way around. Z, Y, X, W, U, V, etc., etc. If it's that right, I don't really care. I really prove my stuff. I've already done it once. So that's my mom's name on my list. She's one name from Esther. But I don't give a shit about mom. So I'm reciting that way I know it. But this is my structure, the circle. So even Gossi Lang, Gosilang, is flexible. So, but because it's flexible because of the name. So I'm not giving anybody consent to do something. I'm giving them consensus. Do you really want to do it? So because that's the difference. Basically, children are not meant to consent to anything. You give them consensus. Consensus. Just basically, you have consensus violation for children, and you have consent violation for adults. Anybody that said they're an adult, they turn 16. They get consent for anything. So consensus means like, do you want to do it? Do you want to do it? It's more about how we do it, how we govern ourselves, how children govern themselves than adults. So basically, if I ever say to a child, it's that we are adults, I'm giving you consent to do it, I will never say that ever again to anyone else. That's my child. Because you don't give away consensus. But if you give your own consensus, if I give someone else's consensus, basically, that's the ontology reality. If I give consent to someone else, I'm giving them power, authority to act. But authority can have to fit in that framework as equity. That framework of who they say they are. Can I do it? Can I? But I don't give adults more consensus or any consensus over a child. So basically, I'm giving child the ultimate power here because I'm still a child at heart. I'm still a child. I haven't really explored my avenues and my roots, my Nigerian boyfriend. We haven't explored them, but I have to go there and fix everything. So this is MMUKO ID. M for mother, U for umbrella, K for kilo, O for Oscar. So basically, that's what I'm saying. The MMUKO ID is ontological consensus framework. So it's ontological because it knows you're gonna know yourself. It's gonna know you. It's gonna be literally you reflecting your own views. KG. It's like an aura seal. What I'm basically, the aura is your potential. It's not even like you in static state. A for alpha, U for umbrella, A for R for Romeo, A for alpha, or A for alpha, R for Romeo, U for umbrella, A for alpha. You can spell it back, aura, but it sounds like aura. That's an aura algorithm. So it's like 2-to-1 pair, bi-directional learning, two-way learning. But if you have three-way learning, there's a point that this framework can bring cohesion. This consensus framework. And that's still on modeling. The Aura ID is like a MMUKO ID. It gives you consensus, full consensus over sparse modeling. How you want to structure yourself. No over syntax. When you use syntax, I don't really care. But the structure, the shape of you. So basically, if you're gonna have a MMUKO ID, MMUKO avatar platform, but you're gonna have a gaming room for children, what you're allowed to breed, neurodivergent only. And then basically you're gonna have a gaming room. You're gonna have like the shape of around the children. The children, not even the people. But the problem with all of this, they have to have the ultimate consensus. Ultimate consensus. We don't because if we see there's something wrong with them, we have to see what is going wrong with the children nowadays. Because something so they're able to action it. Because I know I'm a child. I want to see what the children are. Basically my authority is based on myself, but as a child, because I'm going back to my roots, Nigeria, to see what's wrong with me. Is there anything wrong with me? I know that I'm perfect, but there's something wrong. People that have children, whether it's the children, it's never the children. God forbid, but it should be changing for the children too. So it has to be perfect. So basically, I'm going to give them the perfect environment to see whether the kind of rat stain is true. Giving the rats food, water, shelter, and taking out for the day. Because there's no greed there. There's no need for sex. No need because they are curious minds. I want the curious ones to explore the ultimate avenue without shaping their potential into basically give them the right to leave anytime, to consent. I'm leaving this place, but they're not in a box like me. It's basically like the utopian vision of like when they went in an island and they saw a piggy, this and children, but they have it's the opposite world. Usually, it's like I give them the Boy Scouts that went on the trip down here. I don't give that movie. I don't care about that movie no more. But that movie was like what's the name of that movie? Movie or something. Basically, the island, they were trying on an island, but they got isolated. But they got mad because they didn't have consensus to act. They became hierarchical. That's what I really want to see. Because my PhD is, if I see something wrong in me, then I'm not a problem. I know I'm perfect already. I know I'm perfect. Something's wrong with the framework already there. With the auto chain, this will help me go to UN and get rid of this. Basically, I don't even like the human rights. They're too rigid for me. But my section 189, because I'm gonna be honest with you, I just filed section 189, but I'm trying to get the 30,000 from the accounts, because that are from them. But you don't worry about that. But that's what I'm doing. But it's too rigid for me. So I'm trying to propose this open sense framework to the UN. Naturally to do it naturally because they were able to act on it. So the 30 human rights, actually 30 human rights, you got 30 human rights, but the actor rights, basically the human rights is 63 for neurodivergent people. Is it neurotypical? I don't know. You just have to go to union. But the thing you can't do, the thing you will never do, you have to try to not fall into that. You have to fall into that frame. You know, I'm gonna give you guys the blueprint now. The kids should be able to play it too. If they don't do it, then there's something wrong with your computation, guys. Someone's doing this wrong for them. So basically, a child can do it like that. So basically, I have 7 human rights. I'll do it myself. I'll give myself 7 times 7, 49. 7 plus 7, 14. Now I have what? 7 union 7, 18 plus 5 plus 1. 4, 5, 6, 68. 68. That's the minimum. So we got 7 or 8 human rights. Because you know, I feel better. I don't think this one is like too rigid for me. Doesn't make me feel anything. So union 16 times 2. 16 union 16 plus 16. 68 plus 68 is what? The different one. 68 plus 68 is what? So basically I did 68 times 2. 68 times 2 is what? 68 times 2 to the power of 2 is what? Basically I get 68 to the power of 2 is I'm watching this guys. 4, 6, 2, 4. And we get 68 to the power of 68. Oh, basically that's 68 to the power of 68 and then 68 to 4. And then that's 68 to the power of 68 plus 68 is what? 8, 6, 1, 2, 13. 136. Basically, get 136 rights. For me, I'll get 136 rights to 462 rights, and I have to govern myself, and I have to make laws that other people, 2 more people, my friends. Let me have this is about law. I need to have 2 or 3 friends. If I have 2, that's the minimum allowed. You know, I like to get. So for me, I have to have if I have a child at heart, so I have to get. Because I have my personality, my heart personality, I'm going back to see my friends, family, family friends. Basically, I have to have like 2 friends minimum. So how would I spread my equity to their equity framework? You know, it's really an equity transparency framework for authentic development. You know, but you have to get a computer to do it, Nnamdi, for yourself, for your real friends. You know, 436 2, 462 4, 462 4. But you know, that's my rights to it, maximum rights. I'm basically I'm trying to reduce it all to, I have to think about problems I have, so I'm just gonna make this 136. I would only need 136 rights to do anything. But that's the minimum I need anyway. So if I need, but what basically, these are things I can do, I should be doing, I must be doing, like getting food. So if I get 136 rights, the equal one should be 136. Things I must do, but you know, but I can't. So with children, you know, children at my age. So these are adults, by the way. So let's try the computer now. So 100, get to 106 rights. That could be legislation rights. 136 plus 136 plus 136 things I cannot do. But why can I not do it? Why can I not do it? Because I don't have the ambition to do it. You know, I don't have the money, the time. It's out of my control. I don't give consensus enough. You know, I am corrupt. I'm angry. I'm sad. I don't care. I hate people. You know, those things, you know, block your worldview and limit you, narrow your mind into the shape you don't want to be. So it's like you're basically, it's like a person in the wrong body of themselves. They're a person in the wrong body. You know, like me, I feel like I'm in the wrong body. I feel like a child still. I feel like 13, 14, but I'm old, I have a beard. You know, honestly, this is what I'm saying consists about. It's like, you know, and then I'll say, okay, determining your age. You know, determining your age. If anybody feels for me, there's a policy now, if anybody feels as an adult, you know, that 160 rights minimum is not for them, you know, and I say, yes, I consent. Everything I consent, you know, they have to use this framework in the future, like, you know, let's say, in a year's time, the date is now 23rd November. 23rd November, 24th November. Let me give you one day because I don't trust you guys. 23rd or 24th November, from 23rd to November 2026, you give me consent of a proof that you're an adult. You know, no one should stay there an adult ever again in my life. You know, I'm an adult, can do ABC, I don't have food, give me money. Basically, I don't like that thing, snake eyes, guys, you're doing, you know. So you have to prove it, you know, there. So if I can't do 100 assistance, there's things I want to do that I can't do it. Because why? Because I need to use other systems in place to do it. You know, That's why basically it's like I need something, I want something, I'm crazy, anything, I want something, I want to eat children. I don't want to eat children, guys. I don't care about children, you know. But you know, if you give me a child and say, oh, eat this child, you get food tomorrow, obviously I'll do it, you know, because you know, I'm eating some, I'm eating for a day, you know. Then my child will do it, then my other child will do it. But you know, that's what I'm saying to you guys. It's about generation healing, you know. Basically, my generation heal, and whatever the generation doesn't heal. But you know, that's kind of the blood, sweat, and tears in the African war. It's kind of disgusting actually. It is disgusting because I can consent to it. I can give consent to this or this. You know, I want to figure out what I'm doing it right. You know, that's what scientists say. You know, I can be an evil guy, but if I'm an evil guy for no reason, I can be. Oh, you know, guys can laugh about this, but I'm a scientist. You know, I have a bachelor's degree in computer science. So things are not meant to be doing. You know, thinking in my head. You know, thinking all the stuff. I can think, but do I act on them? You know, basically, it's still a part to me to play a game that I don't need. So basically, I want you guys, the children have their own utopia first before the adults. Why? Because I'm building the frameworks around the children, myself as a child. Because I'm thinking about myself all the time and all the things I missed there. So basically, if I get to do 139 things mathematically, I should be able to get 139 things I can do as food essentials, you know. So, you know, minimum. So there's 139 things to do. Basically, 139 plus 2, 8. 9 plus 9 is 8. 286 things I can do, except for food and water, shelter. Because basically, it has to be basically, it has to be twice the things I want to do. So if I want to eat food and water, you know, I have to basically that should cover everything I want to do my constitution. You know, basically just doing stuff is computed. Basically, computer for me because I'm a scientist. 266. 268, 239 things to do in the constitution. So everything you want, you don't fit into from. You feel like a 2-to-1 mapping. But you know, you give the using the consensus model. Basically, if you can do 3-to-1, you shouldn't be doing 3-to-1, guys. Because you know this is not my framework as a policy. Because you know if someone's giving you something to do, that means the system is broken and someone's intervening with your life, and that's what you don't want. You don't want that kind of broken hierarchy to start manipulating money and everything. But you know the goal of this is to have the car. Now, because basically I don't fit into boxes. I don't fit in this room. So my shape, you see my shape there, the circle has become more, and I got the money suing them. But my brother's still in the box in my mom's room. So that's the duality there. But more thing, my brother is a circle. My mom is basically misinterpreting me. So basically, this is a misinterpreter too. So basically, I want to give it down. Basically, I'm saying to you guys, my mom is epistemologically misinterpreting me, which I have to like frame it now properly. What's misinterpretation? So my mom thinks she's a box. She's a box. You know, she wants me to have a box, this room. But I said, no, mom, you're misinterpreting me. This is what you want me to have. This is what I want to have. I want a circle. I'm a circle. So I'm a circle. I want a constitution. The circle is the constitution. I want a big life. I want a big dreams. Mom said, no. I'll give you a box. I'll try to give you a box. I said, but mom, we didn't plan for box. Sorry, we didn't plan for box. Can you see? This is like me healing right now. Mom, we didn't plan for box. And then mom said, okay, I'll give you a box. And then she said, oh, she then switched the box. I said, no. Sue council. I get a big box called mansion. Big box called housing constitution. Housing in a compound. So I'll build my room. When systems fails, I'll build my room. when council fail, when I sue them 260 million pounds, I build my own house. My own utopia. I say, yeah, I'm not your box, nothing. You know, so I'm giving structure because the syntax, the rules are too rigid. You know, rules are too rigid. You know, the policies, everything are too rigid. That's why MMUKO has matters to me. You know, everything there. So I want to enforce policies, but I want to enforce them as structures, as a policy. You know, I don't want to give anybody a rigid linear system that's fragmented, and their consciousness will just think, oh, forget it. You know, I'll just sue Nnamdi £1 million. Guys, I don't want to lose any money. This is not business for me. This is survival. This is like breathing. Just breathing air. My place. You know, basically, I'm thinking of like dancing and breathing, dancing. My constitution. Newbie School, Anambra State. You know, basically, there's a compound there. There's like a compound there. Basically, everything. You don't have compounds normally. There's no schools there. But you know, the compound is schools in Nigeria. The School of Angels was getting better there. Basically, the School of Angels has a compound, and the compound is called a complex. It's in a complex, so we have to review that. You know, I'm thinking of making my first song there, My Dystopia. I tear down that compound and give children the consensus to build their room too. But they have the consensus they have authority to go drive to school. Drive to school because they have MMUKO cars, MMUKO IDs, and they don't have lanes. They have where they're going. They have this. They have where to go. They don't walk to school. Walk to school. No, I don't want to walk to school. I want to drive to school like an adult. I don't want my mom holding me drive to school. I want consensus. I don't want consensus. The consensus. Basically, you got basically you got consensus violation. So one thing to you, because there's nothing gonna go wrong there. Because I'm doing the show now. I'm running it, guys. If something goes wrong, there's something wrong with you guys. I'm a scientist too. So one thing, guys, if you have a lane, you have like a 6 lane. 6 lanes. So you have 3 lanes minimum. You basically have the 6 lanes. Why? 3 times 3. Going to somewhere, going backwards, and stranded in the center. You don't know where you're going. That means you use assistance. 3 times 3 is 3 plus 3 is 6. So you get 6 lanes minimum for the children, guys. But that's in between the life, working, and breathing. So what that mean? That means 3 times 3 equals 9, and that fits into 9. 3 to 9. 3 to 9 consistent bound. Okay, 3 to 9 minimum. So I can drive to work. I can walk to work, and what I can drive, walk, and breathe. Just walk, depending on my pace, doesn't really matter. The title. But I'm trying to get children to have like mini go-karts and go there. 9. So we got 3 times 3. 3 times 3 is 6. 3 plus 3 is 6. 6 to 9. 9 ways you can get to their own house, their own compound. The compound is just the schools, the health and social care, my health and social care framework of schools. Under computational legislation. But I want this to break it, break the system I'm building. Too. I don't want to get angry. I want to break it. Because if I ever say they get angry and kill me, why don't you guys children to break it? Because for me, it says I'm wrong. My intuition is wrong about myself too. So as a child, because I haven't been there for so long, you guys have changed. I don't know. But if you break this system, and you say, oh, Nnamdi, add an extra right, 1 extra right, 2 extra rights. Guys, that means someone else agrees with that. Someone else your age, children, guys, that means something has to change in my framework, my constitutional model, and my understanding of myself, my ontology, my nature of being as a child, and something I got wrong about people. But I have the best. My friend died in my house. My friend didn't die. Basically, this guy that was like a child, was autistic. My story, was autistic like me. But I didn't know he was that. I didn't know. I just said he's sick. But they were coercing to play with lights or electricity. Basically, he had a wire cord. It was they gave him electrical wires to play with, and he was just fidgeting once. He said, "Oh, fire! Why? He's touching lights." It was touching lights, like this, just like everything. She was touching it, just like touching. Oh, I'm gonna touch it, because guys, this is bad for me. But then I learned. This is how I learned not to touch electricity. This is how I'm scared of this light, but this is how I learned not to. This is why I learned my consciousness has to be preserved. This is the first thing that happens. Basically, I was watching my friend. He was getting better. I was taking medication because medication was banned, but medication never fixed him or even made them. So I banned all medication that's psychotic. Children already allowed. Basically, children already allowed. If you're an adult, you're not allowed to take any medication either, because you can give it to children. I don't trust you guys, adults. But there's no medication psychotic anyway that works on the mind. But only the body medication. We have to find other solutions. Anyone that want to get medication has to take it when they get it. And has to be really watched and regulated. There's no hiding that medication. It has to be kept in my where I want to keep it. And I will see you take it, and when I see you take it, you get it and you solve your problem. But no children of mine is gonna have one pill down their throat, or in my framework anyway. Because that's going to my body and their body. My spirit to my spirit, guys. You're bound to doing that. That's the policy now. So basically, I'm saying to you guys, this wants to get better for every generation. At least for two generations ahead, this generation and that generation. So when you make a breakthrough now, we build for 3 generations. I'm building for 3 generations. People ahead of me. Basically, I'm building for my generation and 3 generations. But I'm building for the previous generation, the previous 3 as well. So 3 times 3 is what, 9. 9 generations max minimum. 9 plus 3 is what? 9 plus 6 is 15 generations. I'm trying to build for 16 generations. Because this burden of healing is not only my burden to carry. But you're starting to why this child But you know, he was like, my mom driving me. I want to go kart with this car, but I couldn't spend time with this this person, this friend. But you know, he was like doing his performance in play and everything. He was like becoming a human being. But something happened to him. He died because this wire was exposed, and he touched it and exposed. Basically, I'm trying to make everything wireless technology, wireless. You know, all the BCIs. You know that's the only thing I expect. You know, things that interact with the mind, they should be wireless. I'm just making my social care solution because the medication is kind of slow. But he had a doctor, but he was such a wires sports wise in the public market, and he came there. I seen him in school, everything, and then he came to the school compound, and he walked past the school, and he was, oh, this wire is a sport. Let me just play with this. My mom is like looking, but he stopped taking medication. Why? Because the doctor stopped giving medication, the mom stopped giving medication, and no one had the consensus to access medication. You know, but so basically the medication is what was sustaining him. You know, and that was the only thing he could do. Do this, you know, touch the wires. So he died because the wires was there in the way. So basically, any as a policy now, any brain computing interface that intrudes on my mind, guys, my mind is your mind. You know, my mind. If I go crazy, I'll let you know, guys. You know, I'll try or signal it some way. You know, you may not know how I signal, but you know, I'll try to give you consensus to that I'm crazy. Because you know, or you're sure you know, I don't really care children. Once you get my children, I'm like, you know, a child now. I'm a child at heart because I don't have a house. But you know, I'm sitting in a room. Basically, I'm trying to get this wire to be never in the tier 3A and tier 3B and tier 3A business. So this wire that goes on because you know it's not wireless. We have wireless at the time. But you know we had all the blueprints for the medication at the time because when I was in the hospital, Health Care 2014, this guy got better, but he took medication. He was speaking, but the friend that died, that friend was my friend. You know, that was Clydey, but I never got his name, never got his number, and I moved from here to UK. But you know, I grew up too fast. I had to grow out of it. And mom was telling me, I was telling my mom, that's why you shouldn't touch wire. Mom was telling me the child died because he touched exposed wire. But when the exposed wire, there was a problem. It was how he was. Once basically it was in coercion. To coerce him to touch the wire. I touch wire every day. You know, there's no problem wrong with me. But with the exposed wires, basically, I didn't know that this was what I didn't know, like my child, my brother, you know, at my age by law, I didn't know this was supposed why it was dangerous. You know, how would I know? I'm a child, you know. But you know, I know sparks and everything, but you know, I don't know the sparks mean danger. I know the hurting means something, but I don't know how the when I burn my finger. I burnt my finger. What does that mean? I don't know what I mean. Basically, my thought was there. I was there in my mind, but I wasn't processing information, my motor information. Because the motor information was overridden by the. Basically, let me give the model. Basically, I'm saying to you how. Basically, I'm saying to you the functional frame. Basically, I can act what I'm seeing. It's not slow, but I don't have full autonomy because I'm not fully aware that it's a thing. Basically, I haven't grown into my full form. Basically, my full strong, my full new flexible form. Because I'm not neurodivergent. I'm different by structure, not syntax. So basically, I can touch a pan. I can touch a pan or stove. I leave it on. It gets hotter. I say, oh, I feel pain. Then I try again. Hotter. Now I give one sign. I get another sign. This is two signs, and it's very hot. Then I leave it. Then I say, why is this hot? I don't understand what it means. You know, basically my head was like thinking pain. I know this is painful, but I touch it. Why? Because the pain is calming. But why is the pain calming? Because it's something different. So I like the pain because it's new. It's new. Then I go out and oh, sun is so bright, but it's so amazing. Let me just stare at it. I'm saying, basically, I need a stimulus to keep me moving. So basically, the policy what we to do is a full structure that doesn't break the consensus model, statement, expression, syntax model. Basically, I can state something is bright. Oh, but the sun is bright. Someone tells me, oh, it's too hot. It's gonna look in the house. It's gonna burn your eyes. Before I even start burning my eyes, look at the sun and using glasses. Using glasses. Etc. It's not even the sun that's the problem. It's the sensory overload of my interest in this framework. The same for the bunkers. If someone go on the ground, guys, go on the same thing and want to touch the core of the sun, whether they're crazy or not, it's not my problem. They touch it for 1 hour. No, for 5 minutes. No, let's say 1 minute. For 1 minute maximum, they touch the core with a bear with some kind of shield, thermal shielding. Which is called thermal shielding. It's similar to sun surface, it's such a core of the earth, oh, it's so hot. They go back up, because it's no objective to touch it. You're not gonna kill anybody there. It's the same thing. Basically, if someone touches and say, okay, give me your gun, I'm gonna blow up the ship. They're trying to kill you guys. Why is the gun there? In the core of the earth. That's the sun. That's what I'm saying to you guys. The sound, if I'm playing loud music and it makes echoes, I'm echoing my sound now, I'm making loud noises. I'm doing it intentionally. I'm not telling you I'm doing it intentionally. You have to know, try to understand I'm doing it intentionally. But I do it once, I do it twice. It's intentional. It's intentional already. It doesn't matter how distressed the signal, how you see it. I'm doing it. I'm telling you, it's what my autism is doing. When I'm fidgeting, I'm annoyed. I'm fidgeting myself because I'm annoyed at something, not you guys. And then I'm fidgeting because one throw me fidgets like this. I'm fidgeting because the thug wants to give me a house. Not give me a house. I say, okay, fine. £260 million. It's fine. It's fine, guys. Talk. We don't have anything in common anymore. We don't have anything. We don't have money in common. But your money, your bank account is my bank account. For my friends, my children, and my children, my friend families. Let's call them friend families because they're friends and their families. But I'm trying to give the children a structure by giving them the authority of consensus. That's to govern themselves, the structure around their own rules and region, how they want to live. There shouldn't be a problem, but that's no medication, no nothing. Only body medication. Things that are constitutional, like if it's so my medication, my penicillin. Things that penicillin, antibacterial, things like that, only thing allowed in the constitution, with clear regulation of rules on how it can be free. I don't want anybody actually breaking the cycle thing of thing I'm doing, because I already translated the cycle of aggression. I already come out of that state. I'm not go back to that state of crime, seeing some of my friends die again in Nigeria. It hurts me. Hurts me every day. Every day I think about it. Every day I think about it. Thank you.